Welcome back to another episode of the Made Alive podcast, where we have curious conversations about what it means to walk the way of Jesus as we live out the Made Alive life in communion with God, in community with God's people, and committed to the cause of the kingdom. I'm Gregory, and I'm back as your host for this series on presence, and I'm so excited to continue our little rotating door of staff in this series, and to have Joel Campbell join us. So Joel, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking some time to chat with me. And so do you mind just introducing yourself for anybody who maybe has seen you but doesn't know who you are? Tell us a little bit about you, Joel.
Well, as Haley said, my name is Joel Campbell. I've been at LifeGate for about 10 years now. Pretty much my family and I started coming about a month into them moving into Cherry Creek High School. And this was about a month after my whole family had moved to the States. So a little story about how we found LifeGate. When we first moved to the States, we didn't really have a church to go to. We were going to a different church, and we would get a ride there every week. But this one Sunday, we didn't have a ride to go there, and we were just at home on a Sunday. And our neighbor, actually, who wasn't Christian, came over and was like, "Hey, like, it's a Sunday, like, what? Like,
why are you here?
Why are you here?" Yeah. And we were like, "Yeah, like, the person that was supposed to pick us up didn't come, whatever." And he was like, "Oh, wait, I was driving by the high school and I saw a sign for a church." And he was like, "Do you guys want me to drop you off?" And we were like, "Sure, yeah." So he dropped us off at Cherry Creek High School, and that day we walked into LifeGate, and my mom was like, "This is where we're going to be forever."
Yeah.
So we've been part of the church for a long time, and it's been cool to kind of see its progress and just the progression from Cherry Creek High School to where we're at now.
Sure.
It's been a blessing. But yeah, we've been part of this community for 10 years, and now I'm on staff as production coordinator, doing a lot of worship stuff, helping out with young adults. It's been cool to be part of this community for that amount of time. Yeah,
it's also fun that your whole family also still, for the most part, I mean, I know your sister is at school, but like your whole family still comes here. Yeah. Like, you all are committed to being here, and you have been present here and for 10 years. Yeah. Like, that's pretty incredible, actually, that you guys, like, all of you have stayed here in this community for that long. So today we're going to talk a little bit about physical presence. Mm-hmm. We're kind of going through some different aspects of presence as we live out the Made Alive life. And I just, obviously, you have been physically present at LifeGate for a long time, but Joel, you are also such a gentle presence. Like, you as a human being just like bring gentleness into most spaces that you operate. As somebody who has had firsthand experience with you on a Sunday where it's high intensity, high energy, like your presence, just your physical presence, just brings calmness to the environment here in this space. And so I wanted to have this conversation with you because you are somebody who, while being physically present, you are also so aware of like everything around you. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I would just love to chat with you a little bit about that. So could you tell me about a time where just being there for someone mattered more than having all of the right words and doing the right things?
Yeah, it's funny they say that. I feel like I struggle with this a lot, with like just even with friendships, of like not trying to give like the right answers and be like, "Oh, this is how you fix it." Mm-hmm. But I do think I can't think of like a specific story, but I do think with friendships lately, I've been learning to just be able to enter into people's stories by just being there. Yeah. And it's easy to like hear problems or like hear issues and be like, "Oh, like this 1, 2, 3, this is how you'll solve it." But I've learned that sometimes just being a listening ear can be just a form of healing for some people. Sometimes totally. People just want to sit and be heard. And this idea of just being in a space is really interesting to me, because I've been learning to just like, how can I not enter into a space with like, I want to say authority, but that's not the right word, but like enter into a space with like, "Oh, I'm going to make my presence known," but just to be there, just to engage with people in whatever they're going to, and get to know them as people. So I think for me, that has been something I'm definitely learning. Like, when friends come to me with issues, I'm just like, okay, like, how can I hear you out? How can I sit there? And sometimes it's really hard because you're like, okay, this could solve it. But sometimes people just want to know, like, hey, like, me too. I'm struggling. I have a friend. He sometimes when he expresses his problems, it's more like he's trying to be like, oh, like, yeah, someone else is going through this. Someone else is feeling this. I'm not the only one. So you get to show compassion for people, and in that sense of like, hey, yeah, me too. Like, the Lord is working on me in this way too. The Lord is just doing things in my life in this way. So I think, this idea of being with people and just like hearing them out has been really impactful in my life in the last couple months, I would say. Just like pouring into friendships. And it also helps you get to like grow deeper in friendship with some people, and like not feeling like you're always trying to quick fix the problem and like give people answers faster than like they might want it, or like sometimes they may not even receive it in that way. But sometimes they're just like, thank you for hearing me out. I met with a young adult yesterday, and he's going through some really tough times, and like he was telling me a story, and I was just like I don't even have the right words. And he was just so appreciative. Like, like I just needed someone to talk to. I just needed some encouragement. And that sometimes goes a long way. Just saying, hey, this is what you need to do, 1, 2, 3 steps. And figure it out.
I think we live in I think we're all predisposed this way. I think that's not just culturally, but like every human being is predisposed to be like, I need to fix this issue for you. Like, you're telling me something, I need to fix it, right? And I think that there's such a beauty relationally when we can just sit with that person, hear their heart, hear their story. And so I love that. What do you feel like that, like as you've been learning this, how do you approach those situations? Like, what's going through your brain when you're approaching those situations, right? Like, how are you preparing yourself to be in those spaces so that way you can just be present and not go in with all of your own preconceptions of like, this is how I need to be in this space?
Yeah, I think I'm like constantly in conversation, not like asking myself, listen first, like listen first, and not jump the gun to give, like to say what's on my mind. Because it's easy when like you're hearing things and you're like, okay, I can answer, I want to say this. But I'm like constantly being like, okay, listen, hear them out, and attentively listen to them too. Because I like find myself getting distracted sometimes. If you're listening to someone and you're like, okay, I just missed like half of what you said, but it's like, okay, how do I remind myself of like hearing their story, remembering it, and like remember it and bringing it back up. I think a place where I get to try to practice this. Say young adults, sometimes you like meet people and young adults just like in the same season of life too, just kind of like, they told me something this week and I'm like have to constantly be like, okay, remember this story. Like I go home, okay, remember this story. And because it's like it doesn't come naturally to me, so I have to do that. But then the next week I'm like enter into that space again. I'm like, hey, how's this going? Like, I don't come with I thought about your situation. Here's how to fix it. It's more like, hey, like I prayed for you, like, but like how's it been this week with whatever you're dealing with? So I think reminding myself to listen and remember those things.
That's so hard to do. I feel like the remembrance piece is something that is so often overlooked. Like we overlook it, of like the importance. And I don't know about you, I've had this happen where when somebody comes up to you and you said something offhand and a comment to them, and then somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, how did that thing go? And you're like, whoa, somebody actually took a moment to hear me, to hear my heart, and to respond in that. I love that, because I think so often we think that it doesn't really matter if we remember, but actually it really does. Like I think people feel very seen and feel our presence in a more tangible way when we remember things like that. And I'm sure you've experienced that as well in your life.
Yeah, I think yeah, like you said, people feel seen when you remember them, and it kind of gives this sense of like, oh, like I'm part of this, like I'm part of like this community, and like people are intently wanting to know my story and hear me. And sometimes you don't have to like um, remember all the details, but it's more like, hey, like I remember that we had this conversation, like, and I want to know more. I want to hear more of your story.
Sure. I love you said community, because I think so often we think of like being physically present with people as like we're just showing up to this space, but I actually think that there's a really important part of like showing up is half the battle, right? And so can you share a time maybe in your life here at LifeGate or somewhere else where there was a moment when gathering together with the body of Christ felt especially sacred, of like we are all showing up here together?
Yeah. All my examples are from young adults.
Yeah, that's great. I included you because you're involved in our young adult.
I'm most connected and feel very. I feel like for me, every Tuesday night is very sacred. Just like the simplicity of gathering with other young adults who are just pursuing the same things. I think for a while, like being at LIFEGATE for a long time, there was really no one my age. There was
especially early on.
There was no one. Like I was in high school, there was not a lot of high schoolers. Got to college, there was not a lot. And then like around 2020, 2021, a lot of like people my age started showing up. And I really didn't know what I was missing in like gathering with like people my age who love the Lord. And like just talking about things that are like, oh yeah, I can talk about like my faith with other people in a space that is like open for that to happen. So for me, I feel like every Tuesday night feels very sacred, because it's like, like this is something that is not normal. Like, I know a lot of young adult Christians in other parts of the country who are like, like it's hard to really find like Christian community because either it's not there or it's just so spread out. So like for me, it's a blessing to have that. And I think one of the like best moments, I feel like every young adults retreat we have, there's a moment where we're just like, we're all gathered there, and I'm like, this is a blessing from the Lord, because this is not normal. I feel like we just take it for granted because it
is your normal.
It's just our normal. But I over the last young adult retreat, I got sick Saturday night, right after leading worship, and I should have gone to bed, but there was a moment where I was just sitting there. I was sitting in the back in the sound booth, just kind of sick, just watching everyone kind of interact. And it's like, for me, that moment felt sacred because it was just beautiful to see that. Mind you, everyone drove up there. It was during a snowstorm.
Oh, yes.
That was the crazy part that we had. I was like, there's 137 young adults in here right now who drove up during a snowstorm to come to this place for a weekend and just be with one another. There's something like really beautiful about just being. I think me and my friend Ty, we like talked about where it's like I don't know, it's a Caribbean one. It's called liming. It's like this idea: you don't have any plans. You just come and you're just there. You're just there.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Like I could be doing my own thing. You could be doing your own thing. But that moment felt like after worship night felt like that to me, where I was like, I wasn't really dancing or hanging out with everyone, but I was just like, just trying to be in this space with people. And the beautiful part is the next morning, I was down bad that night. I woke up the next morning and they were doing worship. And usually as a worship leader, you feel like, I have to be there to like make things happen. But it was really cool it felt really sacred to have like a team that like was able to lead worship, and I just sat in the back and was able to just like hear young adults sing. And I think it reminded me that like I'm part of part of what God is building here too. I think it's easy when you're like on staff or at
or
in a
leader.
leadership role, you're feeling like, I have to make things happen. But it's like, it's so sacred to be like, I'm part of this. It's like, I'm doing this with them. I'm not like here just to provide something for them. So I think for me, every Tuesday night feels like that, because it doesn't feel like I have to perform or like be this like perfect Joel in front of everyone. It's like, I'm here with y'all. I'm worshiping with you guys. I may be on the platform, but we're all doing this together, and God is working in us. And I think that's the beauty of leading young adults in some way. It's because we get to say me too.
Right. There's not that distance.
There's not that distance of like, oh, Joel is up here and then like everyone. It's like, no, like I'm in the same stage of life that you're going through, and we're all seeking the Lord together.
Yeah.
So for me, I think those moments always feel special to me.
Yeah. I love this idea of just being like showing up with friends and just like doing whatever. It really reminds me of like living with roommates, right? It's like the idea of like when you live with roommates, sometimes, I don't know if this is true for you. I know you live with roommates, but like when I lived with roommates before I was married, like you would just be in your kitchen and there'd be somebody cooking dinner and somebody working on something, and right, like you're just like in your common space, and you may not be talking or all the time or like interacting or doing the same things, but you're just like being together and being physically present in those spaces. There's this like palpable thing that is in that, right? This like connectivity that you experience when you're just with people, even if you're not doing the same thing with those people, right? Yeah.
It's really, I think we I feel like as people, we're tending to like, we want every moment to be like, like we want to be doing something. We want to like, even when someone's there, and it's like, I love, and our young adult pastor before AT, he would say like when he meets someone, he would like, just to know if they're going to get along, he'll be like, oh, it's just like moment, like he'll be in the conversation and just like have silence. Yeah. Like how comfortable are you in like the silence of just like existing with someone else? But
which is hard.
But I think it's been like in those moments when like you're with roommates and you're just hanging out, and it's like I don't have to be saying anything, but like the presence of that person, it's just like, it's just calming, and like it brings you to a place of like, I can just be myself here. Like I don't really have to be on.
Oh, I love that. I think that it's so easy to not want that. Like it's so easy to feel the tension of that, because we live in this hyper individualistic society where we also are told like we have to be productive all the time. And so I think that so often we resist those moments because we're afraid of the discomfort of that, like sitting in silence. I love that AT did that. I didn't know that. But like sitting in silence with people can be awkward the first time you try to do it, right? Like, but then there's such a comfortability, I think, that comes in that. So I really love that. I also want to like pivot a little bit and talk about maybe a time where you felt disconnected, like where you felt disconnected physically from the body of Christ, or maybe it was spiritually or emotionally or whatever, and how physical presence, either yours or someone else's, helps bridge that gap. So a time when you felt disconnected and how somebody's physical presence in your life helped bridge that gap.
Yeah, I think this one's a little hard for me because I feel like so my dad was a pastor back home in West Africa, Sierra Leone, and like church was pretty much
your
like
life.
My life. And for me, I like I've always been the church boy. I love the people of God. I love being at church. I love doing church things. So I think for me, there's never been a moment where I was like, oh, I feel this like disconnect from the body of Christ. I think, like I explained earlier, I think for a while where there was like no one my age, I think there was there was that yearning for like, I want like even friends who are like following Jesus, who are like I can have conversations about my faith with. I think that is a tension that you hold because you're like, I had friends who were like not Christian, and like I would do like hang out with them like at school Monday through Friday, and like church would be, which I love church, but like I never had any like
you didn't have that community.
And I think my two best friends I met in the last 3 years, and I think like meeting them and like actually having the physical person to be like, yeah, these are the people I'm going to walk life with in the church, has been game changer for me.
Yeah.
I think in the moments where I feel like, oh, like I don't want to be here, or like I don't like I'm physically and I love it, or like my like heart or something is far away.
There's a disconnect somewhere else, right? Yeah.
And I think having Christian friends who can be like sometimes they don't even have to say anything, but like I can watch Matt worship and be like, okay, like, Lord, thank you for reminding me what it means to be joyful. I can see AJ like talk to people, and I can say, Lord, thank you for reminding me what it means to like be in community with people and like not like feel disconnected, and like just like you said, listen to people and be present with people. So I think for me, like that has been a game changer, just having friends who are in the Lord, and like having people around my age to be able to have those conversations with and be able to walk life with. Because for a while I felt like I was doing the Christian life alone. Like I always had like people older than me speaking into me. I like did student life for a bit, so I like spoken to younger people. I think for me the disconnect was really like people who I can do life with in my own age group.
Peers.
And I think it's more it helps you be held accountable to and like walk this life in a way that like my Christian walk changed when I like started having like close community in Christ, because there was someone there that I can like, man, I admire how you do this. Like I'm gonna like imitate that. Man, I admire how you do this. Let me imitate that. And like I can talk to you about when I'm struggling with things, and like it's really hard to like bring your faith struggles to like people who are not. So it's like you miss that part of how like God intended us to be in community with one another. And just someone to walk with you and like you said, be there with you. And I think their presence in my life has definitely bridged the gap from like feeling this sense of loneliness with not in like just being alone, but just like like a loneliness in the walk of faith of like I'm the only one doing this. And like when you have non-Christian friends, you're always the church boy. You're always the church kid, but not feeling like that with when everyone's the church kid. Like all the people in my closest circle are like the church people. Kid. Church people, and they it brings a sense of belonging that you like you need to walk your Christian faith. So for me, I would say like it's never been this like, oh, I'm disconnected from the church. I think I've like for a while I had a longing for like people to walk life with and do this life with, and I think the Lord provided that through Christian friends, and ever since then I think my life has been very different. And just like experiencing truly the joy of the Lord, and like seeing how that has changed my life. It makes you more joyful and more expectant to what the Lord is going to do in each other's lives. We like hang out like once or twice a week, and we just sit there and we talk about like just random things of like, man, how can I be like, we're not even there. Like, how can I be a better father? How can I set myself up now to be a better husband in Christ? And like, we talk about these things. And it's just been so refreshing to have that. And I don't want to talk circle, but I think for me, just having those people in my life has made me feel connected to the body of Christ more than ever. So I think for me that would be my answer.
No, that is so beautiful, and I love that, and I think that's such a beautiful way for us to wrap up our conversation here, because it kind of, I feel like, is a great culmination of all this. It's like the beauty of living in present community with other followers of Jesus, right? Like showing up and being present with the people of God. There's something about showing up, yes, here on a Sunday morning and being present here at LifeGate, but also showing up in small moments in people's lives throughout the week, right? Like there's beauty in being physically present with followers of Jesus that we don't get with our friends in the world, right? Like there's a communion there that we just can't experience. And like you said, a joy there that we just can't experience. So Joel, man, you're just so wise. And I just
still learning.
I know you are, but I just appreciate your perspective and you taking some time to be here. So thank you for taking some time. Yeah, of course. And thank you everyone for joining in, tuning into this episode of the Midlife Podcast. We'll be back next week continuing our episodes on presence. So thank you so much.
Thank you.